Assalamu alaikum. All right, so at the core of this philosophical belief, i.e. liberalism, which by the way, not only relates to politics, but also society and economics, is the idea of individualism. Different nations, ethnicities, and civilizations have different ways of seeing society and the individual. Some have castes, others tribes, Islamically, the family. Both the nuclear and extended family are divinely based institutions that are at the core units that make up society, individuals being integral parts of these units. Liberalism, though, is all about the individual, protecting individual freedoms and enhancing the lives of individuals. Of course, individuals associate with one another. They form groups based on their interests, and these groups are in constant competition. It is assumed that people are rational and that this competition will produce what is best. The interesting thing here is political conservatives and political liberals are both philosophically liberal, and I understand that this can be confusing. George Bush and Donald Trump are liberal. The far left and the alt-right are both philosophically liberal. The two parties do not disagree that good governance entails achieving maximum liberty. They simply clash over how best to achieve that. In fact, socialism, communism, and even fascism are liberal in that right and wrong are defined by the pursuit of liberty. These different Western political movements all go under the general umbrella of liberalism. It is important to understand, and yes, you might hear me say this often, that this isn't just some abstract academic concept. Liberalism is the dominant ideology in the world today. And it is responsible for the decreased or even extinguished faith among believers. We don't want to be blind followers. In the Quran, Allah tells us that He has not created for a man two hearts. We can't have more than one belief system or more than one set of values. Our hearts cannot be in more than one place at once. This verse is from Surah Al-Ahzab, chapter 33, verse 4. From an Islamic perspective, liberalism is a deen, a faith, and a lifestyle. Pretty much, it's a religion, a set of values and beliefs. Liberals also have core foundational books, just as believers have the Quran or the Bible. Key texts like the Declaration of Independence, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the US Constitution, and the Magna Carta. Massive 20th century projects are based on this worldview. The League of Nations, the United Nations, and the International Court of Justice, i.e. the World Court. To continue this analogy that liberalism is essentially a religion, its major figures would be John Milton, Thomas Jefferson, John Locke, John Stuart Mill, and David Hume, and other prophets. On the economic side, Adam Smith and his famous book, The Wealth of Nations, which refers to an invisible hand which guides the free market economy. The God of liberalism is the human self. We decide what's best for us. We seek to please ourselves. Consenting adults get to decide what's halal between them, as opposed to God deciding what is or isn't acceptable moral behavior. To conclude, we need to understand what liberalism is to recognize that it is distinct from Islam, which should be obvious, although there are those who knowingly or unknowingly blur the lines. And finally, to critique liberalism by being skeptical, as we've discussed earlier. What we don't want to do is absorb the ideas and cultural norms around us and then use those lenses to see the Quran and the Sunnah. This is a sure way to misunderstand and misinterpret Scripture. And it will lead to a believer losing certainty and possibly belief. At the same time, Muslims and believers of other faiths need to understand that if you're living in a liberal nation, such as the US, we have our rights. We can and should practice our religions freely. You don't have to agree with the dominant opinion or mainstream culture. And when our constitutional rights are infringed upon, we will demand our rights and take our grievances to court and to the Supreme Court of the United States if need be. And we've won, and we will continue to win.